what really struck me when you were talking about your entrance into DBT was the fact that when you heard about the mindfulness aspect, you were very skeptical, and that I think that's a good thing because the idea of if I didn't realize that this had been clinically studied and you can get it through your insurance and all that good stuff, and someone sat me down and said, oh, we're gonna start learning about Buddhism, and I'd be like, what am I paying you for? Like,
That's right.
you know, um, the uh, the Cohen thing. I know I already asked about this, but this is kind of just an offbeat question. Do you feel like this is an appropriate response to the one hand clapping thing? Um, Hunter
Well,
Thompson. Sorry, go
let,
ahead.
let me back up a minute. The actual koan
Yes.
is not what is the sound of one hand clapping.
Yes.
Um, it is, this is the sound of two hands clapping. What is the sound of one hand?
Oh, I see. So that I don't quite realize what the difference would be, although it seems like that would create a different mental experience if you dwelled on that for a long time. I just thought it was funny when Hunter Thompson, the writer, was asked that question and he reached across the table and slapped the guy. Um, do you Zen is a lot of it's about as you mentioned, not being tied to any particular text or church, um, which I really like about that. Do you ever feel, as a teacher of Zen, where just by virtue of being a teacher, you're in a position of authority? Um, how do you how do you navigate that experience where people look at you and you might be like, oh, well, this guy can teach us the way. I mean, how do you teach Zen in a Zen way, I guess?
Well, if you find any teacher that says that they can give you an enlightenment experience or point or lead you to the path of enlightenment, you got to run away as fast as you can because that
Right.
person's going to whack. Um, so the purpose of getting a Zen teacher is that again the practice itself is the sitting meditation. And so then a lot of times while sitting or walking or just experiencing daily life, you will end up with these experiences. And what you do is you go to your Zen teacher and you tell your Zen teacher about your experiences. And your Zen teacher will confirm that, yes, this sounds really consistent with uh, reality as it is, or as we refer to it as Buddha nature. Or they'll say, no, it's just one of those things that happen. So you never end up trying to think that you are some type of guru, that you're trying to bring this person on this path. It is, in fact, that you're kind of their companion along the path. And it's like, let's walk along. Let's see what we're doing here. Um, with Zen koan study, I mean, these koans are old.
Right.
A lot of them date back to around 750, 800 AD, and then they go beyond that. But so they do have answers, which surprises a lot of people because they look at it and there's no way there can be an answer to this. But they do actually have answers, and it is, in fact, the Zen teacher's responsibility to check whether the student actually understands Buddha nature on the basis of that koan or not.
Hmm. Um, the uh, One of the things that I've always been kind of puzzled about, sometimes Zen is described as like a feeling of oneness with the universe.
Yeah,
That sounds hippy dippy, but I'm I imagine there's more to it than that. What does that mean
actually, not
exactly?
much more than that.
Okay.
So Yeah, I guess you could say that the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, was the first original hippie then,
Oh yeah.
because he certainly had his experience. Um, Certainly, the experience of Zen is that there are, in fact, no others. That the boundaries that we put up, the dualities that we think exist, are just basically delusions. They don't at all really exist. And to be able to experience that sense of great unity, that great sense of oneness, is what they refer to as Satori or Kensho or an enlightenment experience. Now, it's interesting, it's like every spiritual, mystical practice has something similar to that. In Jewish traditions, it's called Kabbalah, which again is sort of that being one with the divine, being one with Yahweh. In Christian mysticism, it is being one with the Trinity. And even the whole Trinity then starts making sense. So in Sufism, the great Sufi poet Rumi talks about that there are, in fact, no others. Somebody asked him, how should I treat others? And he said, there are no others. So it is that great sense of oneness, of unity. And unfortunately, you can't think your way into that. It is just something that you have to experience. But
That's sorry, go ahead.
even like astrophysicists now, um, actually any physicist actually understands that thing of the non-duality of the universe. Um, Neil deGrasse Tyson, for instance, he talks about when I look up at the night sky, he said most people look up and they feel really small because they're small and the universe is so, so big. He said, but I feel big because I am made up of the same atoms as those stars.
Right.
There really is no difference between me and the stars.
Yeah, that's it's interesting to point that out because I mean the whole idea of the Big Bang is that at one point all of the matter in the universe was shrunk down to a single point. So what better argument for the fact that we're literally all one?
Yeah.